So, Pinterest just sent me a notification that says, if you liked kitchen, you might love cock.
Welcome to another episode of Let's Rewatch, the show where we watch movies we loved in our youth and we see if they're actually still any good. I'm Nick.
I'm Bret.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Ash.
I don't think Sam wants to do this podcast.
I want to do it. I'm so excited.
So, yes, this is our much long-awaited, much anticipated. We're going to be talking about Mean Girls from 2004. And I think there's some anticipation among some of the people here.
Guys, I have been abstaining from watching this movie since we started the podcast.
And listeners of the podcast have heard that every episode for the past year.
Yeah, it was my go-to movie. I would watch it like every year at least.
Okay.
So
that's what I was going to ask. Like, what have you been sacrificing here?
Yeah.
You've been missing out on an annual viewing of this.
Pretty dang close, yeah.
Well, I guess now we're going to break the seal, and then you can watch it whenever you want.
That's true. Yep.
So this is, Mean Girls from 2004, directed by a guy named Mark Waters, who I guess he's just kind of done movies like this. You know, the year before he did Mean Girls, he directed Freaky Friday. And then he went on to do Ghosts of Girlfriends Past and Mr. Popper's Penguins. So, you know, seems like he's the kind of guy who does those romantic comedy sort of, I don't know, like high school type stuff, but maybe a little
Was
bit.
Mr. Popper's Penguins a rom-com?
I think it was a very lighthearted comedy. Although I haven't seen it, I can't say for sure.
You know they added a love interest.
One of the penguins?
Actually, good point. Yeah, I'm sure.
I saw the poster for it, and I couldn't help but thinking of the scene in Ace Ventura when he literally has penguins in his apartment. And I just want to think that that whole movie is an expansion of that scene.
I just keep thinking about the penguin scene from Parks and Rec, where she marries the gay penguins.
It's so good.
It was not a gay penguin wedding. It was just a penguin wedding.
Yeah. Because it was cute, okay?
So while we may not know Mark Waters that intimately, I think the big sell here for most people is probably Tina Fey. This is a movie written by Tina Fey based on the book by Rosalind Wiseman. And yeah, I think this was Tina Fey's first feature film. She had been the lead writer at Saturday Night Live from 1999 to 2006. And would I be accurate in saying that? Like, that's the draw here? That this is the Tina Fey movie?
Well,
yeah.
Yes, because it's written by her, but she herself doesn't play a very big role in the movie.
And was this also like, I don't know my timeline on the Lohans, but is this before the big crash and burn?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is when people still like Lindsay Lohan, too.
People who love the movie now, and Sam, I guess you're the representative here. I don't think the people who love the movie now love it because of Lindsay Lohan.
No. I love it for the goth girl and her gay friend.
Lizzie Chapman.
They're my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lizzie
I
Chapman.
can't remember their names. Yeah. And I love it for the writing. Like, it's over the top, but still holds so much truth to everyone that I hated in high school. You know?
Wow.
It's true.
Well, it's such a authentic telling of the girl high school experience, I think, in a funny way, you know?
Yeah. And even if your high school experience wasn't that terrible and tumultuous, like, there are still little grains of truth that you can identify with.
Yeah.
Like, they've very accurately set up different cliques in the movie, you know, like
just like
the nerds.
10 Things I Hate About You. They did the same thing with the cliques, too.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't help but wondering if this is your equivalent to what Fast Times at Ridgemont High is to me.
Possibly.
Yeah. Does Fast Times at Ridgemont High really speak to being a male in high school? Because this film particularly, I feel like, really focuses on, like, they even call it girl world. And, like, it's a thing that, like, all girls knew about, but no one had ever like expressed into popular culture before. So I don't know.
Okay.
Is there something equivalent to that in there?
Well, Fast Times, I don't think really focuses on gender. It does have very heavy stuff for both males and females. I think it's a broader picture. Jennifer Jason Leigh's story is very much, I think, a heavy experience that a lot of women experience. But I don't think the movie is particularly focused on any gender. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't already guessed, I have seen this movie, but I really, really don't remember it.
Huh.
So I can't do a lot of comparison to this and other films. What's strange is the things that I do remember are Tina Fey and Tim Meadows, and I don't really remember the teenage girls as much.
Oh. Do you remember the girl's mom?
Well, I'm guessing it's either Amy Poehler or Rachel Dratch.
Yeah, it's Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm not sure if Rachel Dratch is in this. I guess I just kind of assumed.
I don't think she
because of
is.
the club. Usually when it's an Amy Poehler or Tina Fey thing and somebody talks about the surprise female cameo, then it's Rachel Dratch.
I can't place her face.
She's
Okay.
kind of, gosh, the thing is she's never been like a lead. I don't think. She's always like, she plays like the weird character that just pops
in Tina Fey stuff.
Yeah, in Tina Fey stuff particularly, but also SNL, because she came from SNL. They all three of them were on SNL together.
What is it, Rob Schneider in Adam Sandler movies for the longest time?
Exactly, same thing.
Yes. That's a really good comparison.
That's perfect.
Yeah, and the awesome Rachel Dratch cameo I always think of is the nanny in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, or
and she's kind of a surprise.
she's in 30 Rock as well, but she just plays this like weird, I don't even remember what her character is.
Oh, I know who. Yeah. Yes, I know who she is.
Okay. Yeah, like if you saw her face, you'd probably recognize her, but
She has kind of like strawy hair, like little frizzy.
Yeah, it's
and she always plays kind of a kooky character that's very confused and wide-eyed.
She does that well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's her and Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and like, you know, secret, like she seems like the one who's like secretly maybe the most creative one, but just can't rein it in.
or just like the funniest, but can't rein it in.
Yeah.
But she may very likely not even be in this movie, so
I don't think she is. But
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Now I'm picturing her in it, and I think it's a false memory.
yeah, I just checked. She's not. But Rachel McAdams is,
okay.
Yeah.
who's also awesome.
And so this came out the same year as The Notebook, 2004.
Really?
So I think this would be
That's crazy.
either this or The Notebook would be the world's introduction to Rachel McAdams.
Yeah. I always thought the Notebook came first.
Yeah, I always did too.
Well, and it certainly may have, because this came out in April, and I don't know what month The Notebook came out.
Yeah.
But it was the
Probably
same year.
February.
Oh, yeah. I guess that would be a good target for it, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I always forget that Rachel McAdams is a person, and I always think it's Rachel Adams.
Oh, I do too. Yeah. I feel you there.
Now, this would have been post-Parent Trap Lindsay Lohan, post-Freaky Friday, but right before Herbie.
Really?
And
Because it was kind of after
Herbie was
Herbie
2005.
that it all started to go downhill, right?
Yeah. Herbie was the first downhill.
Well, that was the
Slope
one where
there.
she got all the bad press for being like awful during filming.
I don't remember.
I was trying to place it, because I know she had this huge downfall, but I remember there being a huge chunk of time where she was this, extremely adorable, very popular lead, but I thought there was more. Parent Trap and Freaky Friday and this, is that the whole story?
No, I'm
could
pretty
be.
sure there's.
Doesn't it seem like there should be more?
You want,
Yeah.
you
Like,
want to
there's
feel
a
like
men-
there's more.
Yeah.
Didn't she have like an album or something come out?
Oh, see, that's the thing I wouldn't have found on IMDb. She did do a Disney, like World of Disney thing, but I don't know how significant that was.
It's easy to get her and that other girl confused too.
Amanda Bynes?
No,
I feel like there's somebody on the fringe who, when you say it, I'll know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't place it.
Lizzie
Yeah,
McGuire.
the Lizzie McGuire chick. Yeah. It's because, like, it felt like it was like they could have easily been the same person, and Lizzie McGuire was like the normal timeline, and Lindsay Lohan is the darkest timeline of that.
Yes.
You know?
And you know why you think that and you have that association?
Why?
I'm pretty sure it's because of Robot Chicken season 1. They did a Highlander spoof of there can be only one between Lizzie McGuire and Lindsay Lohan,
Oh.
I remember that.
where they're trying to behead each other.
Hilary Duff. Hilary Duff is her name.
Hilary Duff,
And
thank
she
you.
had the album.
Lizzie McGuire is not this person's name.
No.
Yeah, and
It might as well
it's
be.
Hilary Duff who had the musical albums. So
Okay.
Okay.
I think
does sound
that's
right.
Yep.
where it's, oh no, Roomba, no.
Every time.
Every
Well,
fucking
it's 'cause
time, Ash.
It's programmed.
And so there is another pretty big actress who I think we're introduced to in this movie. So this might be Amanda Seyfried's first movie.
Who's that?
Really? Yeah, I think you're right. Because then she
Right?
went on to do Les Mis. And what else has she been in? She got big.
Yeah, this is the first one. She was in All My Children before it.
But this is her first movie. It's also Lizzie Chaplin's first movie.
Chaplin. Yeah.
Who? Oh, the friend, goth friend.
Yeah. This was
Yeah.
her first movie as well. It's kind of brought her up.
That's weird. I'm flipping through Amanda Seyfried and not seeing, like, I know there's stuff that I'm missing. Wasn't she in Mamma Mia?
Yes.
all wrong
Oh
about
yeah, she's
Yeah.
the daughter.
Okay. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, Mamma Mia, I guess she was on Veronica Mars. Million Ways to Die in the West, which I loved and nobody else did.
I think my dad liked it.
It was on TV around Christmas, and it came on, and it was. I'm pretty sure there's at least one song in there that is not a winner, because that is the one that was playing, and we were just like, no, and just turned it off. But I don't remember.
What, Mamma Mia?
No, in the what was that? 1,000 Ways to Die.
Yeah.
Million Ways to Die? That I don't remember that having
Yeah, I
songs.
don't think it's a musical, is it?
I could be wrong.
Maybe.
Because
I thought it was the bar fight.
Seth MacFarlane, maybe. I mean, Seth MacFarlane has, like, he loves musicals, so maybe I'm just not remembering something.
Nick getting something about the music in a movie wrong?
What?
Right.
Sorry, Nick.
Oh, by the way, I'd never heard of it. Just popped up on the Apple TV. There's a movie called Hearts Beat
Yep.
Loud
Oh,
with Nick Offer.
I
Yeah,
literally
I wanted to
was
see that.
just telling Bret about that movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
it's
you
really
see it?
cute.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not like a crazy good movie. It was just a good little indie movie, but the music has stuck with me. I can't stop listening
Yeah,
to
the
it.
music's
Cool.
really good, and I was really bummed because I was like, is this a real band? And I looked it up, and it's a composer who only has one
Yeah.
real album. And like
Aw.
part of the album is the songs, like original versions of those songs. And I was like, oh man.
But I think the actress who played the daughter really was singing in these versions.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I think there's something to it. But
yeah, that movie looked
Yeah.
real cute. It was at the independent theater for a little while, and
Yep.
I never got around to seeing it.
Movie Pass kept advertising it at
Fucking
me.
Movie Pass.
I just want to say that you told me for the longest time that I should sign up for Movie Pass. And I was like, I don't know. This doesn't sound like a long lasting thing.
Movie Pass was fucking
Yeah.
dope for
It-
the longest.
Yeah, it was, Ash. Even
I saw a movie like every fucking day for several weeks.
Well, that's
Like,
great
it was
for someone
amazing.
like you who can see a movie every day, but I can't.
But Ash, even for me, where I only saw a movie like once every other month, I still broke even because movie tickets were $16.
But we tried to go and see something the other night, and
Oh yeah, it
I was
a fucking
we
nightmare.
both had our phone out, and I was like, all right, reserve ticket, and then it was like, ticket not available for Sam. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So we ended up seeing something else. So
Yeah.
anyway, Movie Pass, you're dead to me.
I think they're dead to everyone.
yeah,
I think they're just dead.
I just, if I want a thing, I'll go and I'll pay for the thing. We don't need to bring in complex relationships into it. I don't need a loyalty card. I don't need to join your co-op. Can I just give you money and you give me the thing?
I feel like it's one of those things that we all knew what was going on. Like, oh, that's hella dumb. I'm going to take their money.
Yeah. I mean, it did get us to see movies that we otherwise never would have seen.
Oh, yeah, like that Indian one. That was real cool. Oh, you didn't see that one.
I did not. Brett saw it, though.
Ticket wasn't available for her. So I guess the thing to do here is, Sam, why is this so important to you? What's so exciting about this movie?
Okay.
All right.
It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not like a cinematic masterpiece. If you're expecting like a Kubrick out of this movie, you're going to be very disappointed. But there's something just incredibly charming about how all the characters are written and the balance of comedy and heart. And it's truly just a really fun, entertaining story that is just surprisingly relatable. Mm-hmm. I think relatable in terms of like high school experience and relatable in terms of like trying to win the affection of the people that you liked in high school, and whether that be romantic or friendships, and just like self-doubt, you know, like there's a lot of self-doubt in this movie, and the way that it addresses that is really heartfelt and really like interesting that I haven't seen any movies do before. You know, like the kind of typical high school chick flick movie is like, oh, there's the girl that bullies you, and then you like get revenge by pulling a prank on her, and like that's not how this goes. Mm-hmm. You know? And it kind of starts that way, but it flips. And that flip and the way it ends is what sells the movie for me.
It's really a coming of age story. You know, yeah. It's all about being a girl in that weird time period where you're a tween going on being, you know, like, or just a teenager going on being a young woman and trying to figure out what that means and where you fit in the world and who you are. And I think that's why there's such, you know, I think that's why there's cliques in high school, is because people are really trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's through somewhat extreme clothing choices, you know, whether it's goth or prep or whatever, or like at the, you know,
goth.
Shut up. Brett.
Oh yeah. He's mocking both of us, Ash. It's okay.
Yeah. I think that's probably why Sam and I also really relate to this movie, because we were the little goth kids in high school.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and clearly Sam is just beaming about this movie, but Ash, you're super excited about it as well. I think if Sam weren't here, you would be like the shining star excited about this one.
I think, I mean, I was trying to remember who suggested it first, but I think we've both been talking about wanting to do this film for a long time.
Totally.
But yeah, I think, you know, I'm a huge Tina Fey fan, and I feel like the film is written incredibly well and incredibly truthfully and heartfeltly. And yeah, it really rings true to the experience of being a girl in high school and dealing with girl world, how they explain it in the movie, and dealing with, like, I think also outgrowing friends and then realizing that maybe you made the mistake, you know, of outgrowing them in some ways. But I definitely struggled with that, where it's like, you know, you move on, you try to grow and move on from one clique, but because things were so cliquey in high school, you like lose all those friends. So yeah, it was great. And it's just incredibly funny. This movie is hysterical.
Yeah.
Like, not only is Amy Poehler, of course, hilarious in this film, but like there's just, I think I would argue that Lindsay Lohan is hilarious in this film. Lizzie Kaplan is hilarious in this film. You know, and Damien, God, what is that guy's name?
Oh, the friend.
Yeah, he's hilarious. what is his?
Yep.
Daniel Franz. Oh, I cannot say his last name. Franzisi. But yeah, I feel like, you know, if you were a girl who grew up in high school around the time we did, you had that one gay friend. You probably had some goth friends. You know, there were the popular girls that didn't talk to anyone. Like, I actually really enjoyed the fact that halfway through high school, I went to a different high school because my second high school was very different from that one, and I got to get away from that.
Are so lucky.
Yeah, but
like, I remember, like, so I was really involved in like the Gay Straight Alliance in high school.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, I was the president of the club, and because of that, I was in the leadership club. And I was like the weird pro-gay goth kid amongst all of the preppy shitholes. And I remember that they did not fucking change. And it was the saddest thing. I ran into one of them at Disneyland when I was in college. And I like tried to wave hi and say hi to them. And they ignored me and pretended like they didn't know me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think like this movie kind of is so important because it points out how crazy and stupid those people are and how like immature they are. And it really, like, as a kid watching it, gave a lot of confidence to me, being like, no, you are doing the right thing, even though it's not popular. Like, being nice to people is the right thing to do.
Yeah. I feel like that's also so timely right now, and that we're seeing this huge change because like a huge theme of the film is like, ladies, why are you being awful to each other? You know, like it really was like this competition among women, and I still feel it, you know, between other women sometimes and myself, like that just doesn't need to be there. And I think we're at this time where women are starting to support other women with like the Me Too movement in a way that quite honestly was not really like there before, you know, as a social thing.
And not just in support of tragedy either, but like in support of success. Like, we are seeing a cultural shift of women celebrating other women's success instead of looking at it from a point of jealousy of like, oh, she succeeded, it could have been me. And now there's this whole attitude of like, if we support each other, we all can be successful.
And that's really the message of this film, I think.
So Bret, I almost feel like you and I don't really have much to say, and like maybe you and I should have gone first.
Now let's let the men talk.
Unless you're going to come out.
Let me say,
unless you're going to come out as passionate about it as they did.
Nothing makes me feel like I'm living in guy world more than this conversation.
What the fuck does that mean?
Bret, you and I should just go watch Bill and Ted, because and then they can watch me.
Being with Sam for so long, I have seen this movie several times, and I also remember nothing about.
Oh, you dick.
That's so weird because it is very well respected, and it's everybody knows, you know, acknowledges that this is a great movie, and Tina Fey is so unquestionable, but I don't really remember.
Well,
it's weird.
It's funny because what I do remember is that it's hilarious, and we always love watching it. I just don't remember what goes on in this.
That's so funny because I feel like this movie is so quotable. Like, I'm always saying, "Oh yeah, go Glen Coco," and like usually no one knows what I'm talking about.
I always want to say, stop trying to make fetch happen.
Yes. That's the only thing I remember. Really, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I really don't want to do that gross oversimplification and saying that this is a movie that appeals to women and not men.
Oh no,
it can't possibly be that.
I think Sam and Ash really hit it in that it taps into an experience that you and I have probably never really had.
Yeah, in the same way that I can watch like 50 Marvel superhero movies and be like, I don't remember what happened. Like, he's a dude punching people. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Well, let me tell you why you should give a fuck.
I mean, I do give a fuck, but also like they kind of blur together.
That's Nick holding up a finger.jpg. Like I need that.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you.
Yeah. I feel like Orange is the New Black is another show that's kind of like this, where I tell people, like, I think both men and women can enjoy it, but Orange is the New Black also really speaks to the experience of being a woman specifically, that I think women are going to appreciate more than men are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally the core of what this is like. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an enjoyable experience watching it again, just because I remember enjoying it in the past. But you know, I guess we were just having this conversation last night about we're watching The Legend of Korra, all the Avatar fighting animes. I like fighting animes, and so Sam's like, "What happened? What is this thing about?" And I was like, "You don't remember that from like 3 seasons ago?" And she's like, "No, what?"
Yeah. So Bret has like a perfect recollection of the
like
original
minor side characters that were in one episode, and like, you remember that thing
from the original Avatar series. We're not talking from season 1 of Legend of Korra.
I haven't watched that since college. Which is like
10 years ago.
Anyway,
not sure what that has to do with.
It's the passion thing. Like, it's a thing that
Gotcha.
I'm really into that stuff.
Yeah, it just means that you are really into that thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And Sam is clearly less so.
And it's easy, I think, to be into things with a
with violence.
Like
is that what
no. Things that like identify with the female experience, when that is such a lacking narrative in a lot of modern media. So, you know, when you actually see something that speaks to you, I mean, you remember it. So,
well, I would say one of many, but one of the great things that movies do when they're working right is give you a window into the experience of other people.
Yeah.
And if that's what this is about, then I'm definitely looking forward to it.
It's a lens that I've never watched it with before. So,
yeah. I would say the last time we watched this movie together, the world was in a very different place. And I would say that feminism was very different.
Yeah.
And it's much more acceptable now, and it's much more of a thing to be prideful about. So I think just having that modern lens will make this movie that much more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, speaking of Tina Fey and feminism, are you guys, have you seen the most recent season of Kimmy Schmidt?
I've seen about half of it, I think.
Bobby Moynihan's character in the most recent season is this beautiful expression of feminism. It is so funny and so sharp and so satirical. What he's doing, and what I assume Tina Fey is writing for him, is so fucking brilliant. He's playing that character of like defending men in a world where women are prosecuting men.
Oh, like that episode of Star Trek?
Good. I don't remember that.
Sam was just watching the Data goes to court episode.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one where they go to the planet and it's a women matriarch and the men are all the slaves. And they're like, this is so wrong. Yeah.
Even Nick rolled his eyes at season 1.
I skipped over season 1. I'm not going to lie. I just started rewatching at season 2.
It's a rough year.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I'm excited about this because Tina Fey. She's clearly one of the greats, and you know, her TV series that she's done, I've loved. Her time in Saturday Night Live was brilliant, and I can't see not loving this.
Good. I hope you're not disappointed, and I'm glad I don't have to sit there watching it right next to you, because I would be on edge. I really want you all to love this. So
yeah, any other expectations that anybody wants to express before we dive into it?
That conversation was a good conversation and got really serious there for a second, and so I totally forgot about that. Sam said we shouldn't expect a Kubrick thing, and God,
oh no!
In my head now, forever is going to be Hal being like, Like, I can't let you do that, Dave.
I'm not
He's
following what
doing
you're talking
like a Valley Girl accent.
HAL 9000.
Yeah.
Oh, you said I can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm imagining Kubrick literally popping up on screen the way Werner Herzog popped up on screen in Parks and Rec. That would be fantastic.
I mean, you say it's not Kubrick level, but I mean, I think when obviously a comedy isn't going to be shot like a Kubrick film, but I think that this film is shot incredibly well, and that they do some interesting juxtapositions throughout it that I think are really good filmmaking, personally.
Is Tina Fey the Kubrick of comedy writing?
Maybe.
I never watched this movie with like a cinematography lens or like a really analytical lens.
Yeah.
So I'm excited and nervous.
I'm just
to do
thinking
that
the Africa jungle stuff is like really interesting. It's an interesting, good filmmaking choice.
Well, can I answer Bret's stupid question with an interesting answer? Yes.
Ooh.
Well, the way that Kubrick is an absolute genius with the visual camera work of filmmaking, maybe Tina Fey is an equal genius for comedy writing.
Yeah, I mean...
And I don't think that's a weird or unfair thing to say.
That's a valid point. Like, in order to be a comedian, you have to be really observant and you have to understand people so that you can kind of spin truths on their head to make them funny. And I think she's really good at that. Yeah,
I mean, the whole thing about comedy is exposing a truth that's inherently hilarious,
Yeah, or that's like something that you just expected or like accepted, as a truth, and you don't realize how absurd it is. And I think that's why Ash and I both really like this movie. Is like it was a reality of ours that we just accepted, and now that we're older, we can laugh at how ridiculous it is and appreciate how far we've come.
Yeah.
I think we've set it up enough. We've definitely got some strong opinions here. So yeah, let's dive in and watch the thing. I'm excited to see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to pause recording. We're going to watch Mean Girls, and when we get back, we're going to see if it's still any good.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. And they're like, it's better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. I can teach you, but I have to charge.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to sing the weird transitional song with that like plucky guitar.
Which one is that?
I really want the Shatner reading of Milkshake.
Perform it, please.
Did you ever see Ian's thing of Anaconda?
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Damn right. It's better than yours.
Oh boy.
What would the what's his name? The guy from Jurassic Park, what would his be?
Which guy?
This is a lot of guys.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Oh, Goldblum?
Goldblum, thank you.
I mean, Goldblum's, he's pretty easy. He's pretty easy.
Did you see his Hot Wings thing?
No.
Oh man, check out his Hot Ones interview. It's pretty good, and it gets a little creepy.
Oh, is that web show, the YouTube show?
Yeah, celebrities eat hot wings and answer questions.
So it's like, what is that YouTube show where they eat spicy things and talk about video games?
Yeah,
it's like that's been done.
Yeah, this is like the pinnacle of YouTube. Like this is what it was all leading to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it is a YouTube show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what'd you think about Mean Girls? All right. So that's Let's Rewatch.
Next week.
Thanks for listening.
We're waiting for Sam.
I can't talk first. You know I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll talk first if you want. I think it's still great. It definitely, I will say, it's definitely a teen girl movie.
Yeah.
It's
like
not,
I said, not a Kubrick.
Yeah. But there's some really good storytelling and filmmaking that I think goes on in this film. Like, did you guys notice that the bus is foreshadowed several times?
Oh, yeah. I noticed that. And I don't think Bret did because he remembered nothing. But when Regina got hit, Bret was like, what? What? What's going on? What do you...
It was through like the tears of laughter, though.
You're like, murder? What?
I was just laughing. I was like, what's going on?
It's so good.
I recently saw a movie that I'm not going to spoil where seeing somebody get hit by a bus like that is not... it's not what that movie intends. And it's still a bummer seeing that.
I don't even know how to comment on what you just said because it was so coded. I just don't even know what you said.
When you've seen the get hit by a bus played seriously and then you see it as a joke, it's like, oh.
Well,
I was just crying about that.
That's an unfortunate movie viewing sequence of events there.
Yeah, because it's fucking hilarious in this movie. And I love when the three at the end get hit, too, and then she's like, just kidding.
Yeah.
So is this the movie that started that? Because that was a thing for a little while. Like, everybody kept hitting people with cars, like, quote-unquote, unexpectedly as they crossed the sidewalk. And it became a thing where, like, every time someone stepped into the street, they were going to get hit by a car.
Oh, yeah. I can't see a character stand still in a crosswalk for any moment of time. It's like when you see people in a movie driving and the driver just keeps turning and looking at the person they're talking to. Stop that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very specific angle. It's when you see it in films when they cut from the perspective of the person in the passenger seat looking at the driver, and then you get that shock value of the car coming from the driver's side and hitting the car. That angle I've seen played multiple times.
I've seen that angle and like just, clenched up waiting for it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And then found myself thinking, well, don't shoot it like that.
Yeah, exactly. We've been trained to think that angle means you're going to get hit by a bus. Yeah. But yeah, I really liked the foreshadowing in the beginning. And then again in the middle, she says, this one hit me like a big yellow school bus. And I was like, oh, wow.
Yep.
And then there's another scene where she's walking and there's big yellow school buses in the background. So it's like 3 times they kind of foreshadowed it, which was pretty interesting. I never noticed that before in the past. I also never got the Girls Gone Wild joke.
Oh, God.
Until this time around.
That was pretty great. Yeah. Well,
I was like,
actually, wait.
Wow.
There were 2 Girls Gone Wild jokes. The one
what are you talking about?
That I loved was the little sister watching it on TV.
Oh, yeah. No, that's hilarious. I've always loved the little sister thing. No, I never got the joke when the principal's assistant busts in and she says, the girls have gone wild.
Yeah.
So good. I totally missed that.
There's something you said a moment ago, whether it was intentional or not, it almost sounded like you were saying, sure, it's a teen girl movie, but... Mm-hmm. And it kind of reminds me of like people say, oh, it's a dumb action movie, but then Die Hard is a brilliant movie. Don't dismiss it as a dumb action movie, which is my reaction to this. It's like, it would be easy to dismiss this as a dumb teen girl movie, but it's not that. It's higher than that.
Yeah, definitely. It was just more teen girly than my memory remembered, but it was still like totally enjoyable. There's just sort of that cheesy moment at the end at the dance where like everyone's dancing together and making out, and I was like, oh, that's a little okay.
Every teen movie ends that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love how they call attention to it, because the gay guy and Janice, they kiss and they're like, whoa, what were you thinking? Like, it's very tongue in cheek. Like, they acknowledge that they're making a cliche and then making a joke about themselves. So it's very self-aware.
Yeah. But then they go back to the cliche and they like kiss and the camera cranes out. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's still great. Like, don't get me wrong. I still love that. I think it's the ending the movie deserves.
She had a lot of pieces of the tiara there.
I know, right?
Yeah, it did more than the sum of its parts.
It kept spawning.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff in this movie that, like, all right, this is not a movie for me, and this is not, it's uncomfortable. It's stuff that I don't want to see. I don't want to be around these people. But it never weighed it down, It was always great and sharp throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, the humor is really what makes this film so good, because there's like, even, I don't know if you noticed, but like even the stuff when they cut to a scene and a teacher is like teaching something and they're like just talking just to have a teacher talking and then something else happens. Even what the teachers are saying are like hysterical. Like there's one time where they're like in some sort of literature class and the teacher's like, so what you really ask is he just a big dumb giant? Or she says something like that where you're like, what are you talking about?
And then Santa walks in. It was,
Yeah. That was the joke.
It was a Santa joke.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's brilliant. Like, I love the whole, like, don't have sex or you'll die, like,
yes, you'll get chlamydia and die. Like, it's so self-aware of like what it's mocking, like I got fortunate and I had a real sex education, but for a lot of the country, that's what sex education is. Like, don't have sex. If you have sex, all the bad things will happen and you'll die.
I mean, I think I will tell you that is what my sex education was, and we grew up in the same town. Like, it was definitely like, I got the vibe that if I had sex, I would die. Like, that is the fear they instilled in me, for sure.
See, at not at New Tech, at the other high school, sex ed
Vintage
was pretty effective, because their sex ed teacher just went on and on about how awesome hot tub sex was, and like,
oh my god,
yeah, and everybody was just like, no, stop.
Wow.
No, I got like a very clinical sex education of like, STDs, like, be safe. Here you go. Here are the symptoms. Like, here's all the different kinds of birth control, and like their positives and negatives. Like, more than I wanted to know. But I'm thankful I had a reasonable education.
The burn book thing totally actually happened in my elementary school.
What? Elementary?
Yeah. For real. I remember it, and I'm pretty sure it was like, I want to say it was 4th or 5th grade. It was before this movie came out, I'm pretty sure. But there was a book that went around the school that had not just girls, but guys too, like different people throughout the school in it, with like just nasty things written on it, and people would pass it around and add to it and read what was written about them.
What school did you go to?
Alta Heights.
Oh, the preppy bitches.
Were they? I guess. I don't
know. I was a Lake people, so everyone was a preppy bitch compared to me.
The lesbian thing happened to me too. That my ex best friend, spread a rumor saying that I was a lesbian because she just was angry at me.
That was so common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's funny how acceptance of gay culture has changed that drastically within our lifetimes. Like, that's just not that big a deal, at least on this coast of the country.
Yeah, there's parts of the country, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
But I mean, this movie would have been representative of kind of even the most liberal parts of our country, and the fact that those areas have changed since this movie was released is really cool. Like,
yeah,
people just wouldn't care.
So, have you noticed that we have watched this movie before, and we had a conversation about how this was a nugget of a good idea that was executed horribly and was tone deaf and not funny at all and just completely offensive.
Oh no, Heathers?
And if it had been executed properly, there might have been a good movie there. Yeah,
No,
I mean, you can't help but think like this is the good movie that Heather's could have been.
Yeah.
Had it not been so goddamn tone deaf.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's a scene in this where she comes home and just talking to the parents. Were people nice? No. Did you make any friends? Yes. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of an interaction that, you know, the main character had with her parents that was supposed to be this hilarious little one-liner and was not. But that was really funny and really insightful at the same time.
And what I think this movie did better and differently was that the parents genuinely cared about the daughter. And then the daughter, it kind of cared about her parents, but really was more concerned with her own life. Where it was kind of the opposite in Heather's. Like, she cared about what her parents thought, but her parents didn't really care about her. So just that flip of the story is really that much more impactful. You know, like, she has this whole support system. She has all these people that love her, and she's still making bad decisions and mistakes anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, the things that this movie does right and Heather's does wrong are innumerable.
Oh, yeah. You know. In this specific example.
Did you notice, I'm kind of curious to go back and look at it, but the bedroom and the gigantic bed really reminded me of Heather's.
Oh, yeah.
This used to be my parents' room when I made them trade me.
Yeah.
That was another thing that I related to in this movie. I might have done that.
Wait, you're not supposed to relate to Regina George. You're
Like I said, I am the first to admit that I was also a monster as a teenage girl. I'm not going to deny it. It's like a phase that we all go through.
I mean,
I definitely did that.
I should not be talking because I had a fucking 2-story bedroom growing up.
What?
So.
That's insane.
It had a ladder to a
2-story bedroom?
Yeah.
Talk about trying to be relatable.
Yeah, geez, Sam.
Okay.
Oh, we lived by the lake, and we just, the lake in Napa.
Yeah. They just go down to the resort whenever they're bored.
Yeah, we have a yacht in our backyard.
Yeah.
When I opened my bedroom door, it hit the bed.
Wow.
Yeah, mine didn't. To be fair, my second story, if you will, was a finished part of the attic that was open to my bedroom. So
you're not making it sound worse.
Yeah, it sounds
okay. It was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, but it wasn't like a full-fledged story. Like, I couldn't stand up in the second half. Yeah. It was cool though.
Did your mom serve you fancy drinks on a platter?
No, but that would have been really fun.
Yeah.
That mom, played by Amy Poehler, was
so
just
good.
How many of our Napa friends had parents like that? Like, so many.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Not the ones I hung out
if they're
with.
gonna drink, I want it to be, in the house.
Well,
Like,
yeah. That was kind of all of Napa. Yeah.
like, no.
I just love that juxtaposition of that line. Like, is there alcohol in this? Oh, God, honey, no. What type of mother do you think I am? But if you want it, really, I mean, I'd rather you drink with me. Like, it's cool. Like, she knows how to be a good mom, but is so wrapped up in, like, trying to be cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we all, like, at least know somebody's parent that was like that or could relate in some way.
My favorite is when she's like doing the dance moves while they're like on stage.
She's supposed to be filming them and the camera's pointed at her own chest.
Yeah. That's so great.
So does Tim Meadows look a lot like Don Cheadle?
Oh, interesting.
I could see that. Yeah.
I was kind of surprised at how cut he was when he was in that tank top. It's like, really? Tim Meadows? Wow. Who would have thought?
He did a good job in this. I
thought he was so good.
I like when he's like, yeah, I can't do this.
That was the most relatable part to my high school experience was, I remember. Yeah, I've told this story before. the principal at the end of the year telling our class that we were the worst class that had ever been at the school.
I was thinking that same thing during that scene. I was like, this reminds me of that year that happened to us.
I really enjoyed when he grabbed the baseball bat when he had to go out. And it's just, I know that's from a movie where it's like, the principal has to take charge and has the baseball bat. I can't remember which movie it was, but
it's a little like The Substitute, I guess.
I was going to say, is it like a Prison Break movie?
No, it's one of those movies where like the inner city school and the principal has to show the tough love.
Yeah, kind of like The Substitute.
Was it directly from The Substitute?
No, that you're describing the plot of The Substitute.
Is that because it certainly could be? Is that where he had the baseball bat?
Wow.
This is a touchstone movie for Nick now, I guess, and he doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Can I point something out that you guys have given me so much shit for before, and it was in this movie, and I was like, ha! She says the term dry swallow. I'm telling you, it's a thing. I didn't make it up.
Nobody ever questioned whether it's a thing. It's just an icky phrase.
Yeah, it's just like the shake weight is a thing. Like, it exists. Don't use it.
I heard her say that, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this is where Ash first heard that phrase.
So remember when we did heavyweights and I was talking about how I'd seen something online where it was like the scene about the fat camp and the airplane. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it was from heavyweights, but it was kind of funny. There's this thing that circulates around where it's a shot of the end of Avengers where Tony Stark pulls up in the convertible and it just says, "Get in, nerds, we're doing science." Mm-hmm. And I never realized where that came from.
Yep, this movie.
And it's a pretty good gag.
I forgot about my other favorite quote, which is, "Boo, you whore." Like, I have to stop myself from saying that when somebody tells me no. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. You just love Karen. She's so dumb and lovable.
She's
like, you're not stupid. Well, actually, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Actually, there's data proof that I'm stupid.
Yeah, I thought she did an amazing job playing that character, because it's easy to kind of push it too far and have it not feel believable, but she's just aware enough to like really ground her, but then she's just so out of touch.
I think you can say that of a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm watching Rachel McAdams thinking this character is just gross and despicable, but she shines, and I could see the intelligence of the performer behind the stupidity of the character.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just seeing how she deserves to be the star that she is.
Yep. Well, it's just like one of the most relatable things for me is that moment when Cady gets called into the office and like blamed for the book that Regina wrote herself. Like, that has been my life. It's like always been the do-gooder, but then if anything goes wrong with anybody even touching me, like I somehow go down with the ship. It's like, wait, no, like I didn't, wait, what? I think we can all kind of relate to that. Like, you slip a little bit and then suddenly you feel like guilty for everyone's sins all around you.
No, I was the one doing the bad things and getting away with it.
That's very Catholic of you.
Yeah, I was the mean goth in the movie. That was me, secretly pulling pranks on the preppy people. I have had that experience, though, where you're like walking into the principal's office and you're like arch nemesis female girl, the girl at the school who's your arch nemesis walks out and you like exchange looks like, oh fuck, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's going down.
Yeah. Crazy experience like that for me was actually in middle school. And all of a sudden one day, like, got called to the principal's office and I was like, I wonder what's going on. And like the person that called me to the office, he's like, do you have any idea what's going on? I was like, do I have to take a test or something? He's like, no, you'll see what's going on. I'm like, okay. And I get there and they hand me the slip of paper that has my name on the top, but my last name is spelled wrong. And it's a letter to my teacher saying, Dear Miss So-and-so, I can't remember her name, if you do not give me an A, I will bring a gun to school and shoot and kill you.
Whoa.
Yes. And I was like, what the fuck is this letter? Oh my God. And so they like searched my bag. Obviously, I didn't have a gun or anything crazy. And then they were able to compare my handwriting to the handwriting on the paper. And it wasn't my handwriting. And then it turns out that it was this girl that I went to elementary school with, and we were actually friends. Like, she was kind of an outcast, and I was her only, like, kind of friend. And she wrote my name on that paper for some reason and tried to blame me for that, which makes no sense at all.
Did you say you used to be friends?
Well, like, we were still kind of friends then. Like, the way middle school happens. Like, we didn't have a falling out. It was like, we ate lunch together a few times, and then we didn't for a bit. Like, nothing.
We didn't have a falling out in your eyes, Sam, but in her eyes, she was like, Sam has left me behind.
I was just so confused.
I thought my story was bad, but yours trumped it for sure. Wow.
Don't know how we got on this or how it relates to Mean Girls, but bitches
being
be crazy.
A teenage girl sucks. That's why.
Yeah.
That's how it really.
It reminds me of the, what'd you do over the summer? Well, my carpal tunnel came back. What'd you do? I got divorced.
Yeah.
I win.
Yeah. Yep. Wait, I feel like we covered so much of it in the beginning, which is funny because I remembered so much of this movie. Like, it really stuck with me. There was very little that I didn't remember. And Bret watched it tonight like he was watching it for the first time.
Yeah, Bryce
I was
came
laughing
home.
most of the way through it.
Yeah.
Bryce came home and he sat down and watched it with me. And at the end, he was like, I've never seen this movie before. It was great. And I was like, what? You've never seen it?
Yeah, I had a weird combination of, like, remembering things as they unfolded, but then other parts just not remembering at all. And I guess I just saw this and completely dismissed it, and it might have been an age thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I could see why it really resonated with me when I was younger, and it still does, but I can see how it, you know, it's totally marketed and geared towards young girls, you know, it's meant for them. But there's some really awesome transitions in this movie. Like, one of my favorite transitions is when she's giving the speech about Caesar and the Gretchen is.
Yes.
And the background behind her, it's totally shot on green screen, but you don't realize that it is. And the background dissolves and fades into the bathroom, and we just go right into the scene of her telling Cady all the secrets and whatnot. But it's like a brilliant transition that always reminded me of the same scene in 10 Things I Hate About You, where Julia Stiles is saying her poem and getting worked up the more she says her poem. There isn't that same sort of visual transition, but I always love that visual transition in this movie, and it always stuck with me.
That was a great joke, too. Mm-hmm. It should totally kill Caesar.
Yeah. I love the way they wrote Gretchen Wiener's character. Like, typically you're supposed to identify with the main character, which would have been Cady, but I don't know. I think there's more, like, relatability in Gretchen. Like, always wanting to please and then somehow never being good enough, even though you're trying your hardest, and then, like, having no transparency in why, like, the people around you don't like you. Like, it's really relatable, and she just, like, freaks out and panics, and there's nothing going on, and she makes it all up in her head. And it's totally something that I've gone through a million times. Like, even now in my adult life at work, I'm like, oh my God, did somebody misread that email wrong? Did it sound bitchy and I really meant it to be nice? Oh my God, what happened? Like, it's the worrywart in all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So then what's the deal with, remember when we watched Lost in Space and she had the most weird, obnoxious, squeaky voice.
Yeah, I couldn't
Oh,
stand
it's
it.
so bad.
Here, it's just not at all. Like, she was fine. Like,
Yeah.
was that
That's
just an
why-
awkward age for her? What happened?
No, I
think they
think it was
pitched it
a
up.
direction thing. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they wanted that. And that's why, like, I couldn't stand any part of the movie like that, like her video blogging. Because
Yeah.
I'm so
So
used
bad.
to her from this movie that I was just like, this is wrong.
I mean, not to mention her hideous haircut in
Yeah.
Lost in Space. Like,
Yeah,
Haircut of the
definitely.
future.
yeah. Just was very over the top and crazy.
You know, he didn't have much, but I thought Neil Flynn, the Katie's father,
Yeah.
really, really good.
So good.
And,
Yeah.
You know, we've seen him as the janitor on Scrubs, and he's kind of this amazing.
Oh, that's where he's from. I knew he was
Yeah.
familiar.
And he's this great character in Scrubs, but it's one note for 7 seasons, as great as it is. But this, it's like, oh, there's more to this guy. And I just wish he'd done more, or hope he will do more.
Yeah, he's not really in a lot of stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it, man.
I liked how the parents were kind of new to this whole thing too. Like the culture shock wasn't just with Katie, it was also with her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like how, again, true to the teenage girl experience, they show like, a mother and daughter going from being best friends to really being at each other's throats.
Yeah.
That's
But-
such a normal part of the teenage girl experience.
Yeah, but I like how they did it in a very like kid-centric way. A lot of times you kind of see this from the parent perspective, and the parent's like, "You've changed. Why are you being so terrible now? What happened to you?" Like none of that happens. Like the mom is kind of surprisingly really accepting, like, oh, she's growing, and then Katie's really just like, it has nothing to do with her mom. It just has everything to do with her, like, trying to figure out who she is and how to fit in this new world.
Yeah, to say the one scene where the parents had any sort of like flip out was the that ridiculous Santa Claus thing.
Oh, yeah. But
What's
even
Santa Claus?
They were like singing the song and doing the dance routine.
Jingle Bell Rock.
Yeah, and both of her parents are just like, "What's going on?"
yeah.
Well, that's not true. There's the scene
Very
where the mother and daughter basically have a fight. She's like eating dinner and she's like, "Are you done? Good." And she like pulls it away from her
Oh,
before
yeah.
she's even finished, and she like yells at her for putting the vases in there and storms off. And it's just totally like when I would get into arguments with my mom, or if we were angry at each other, it was very passive aggressive-y and not, let's actually sit down and talk about why you're mad at me. It's just passive aggressive, because again, that's just kind of part of the whole girl world thing and like how females would communicate,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's changing, which is great, but that definitely spoke to me anyway, remembering a time like that,
Yeah. I feel like Ash and I said a lot before.
Yeah.
Like we almost
Yeah.
did our post roll before because this movie was so fresh in our memories.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember every single
Yeah.
part of this movie for sure.
Oh, the one thing I did kind of forget though was the painting.
Oh, yeah.
That Janice had done that painting of everyone together. And like that moment hurt so much more now rewatching it. Like, oh, what did you do, Katie? No.
Yeah.
You betrayed your one true friend.
One?
Oh, two true friends, sorry.
Well, her art
Ouch.
show didn't go too well if the art went up and down in the same evening.
It was high school. Nobody would leave that shit up.
Well, I mean, you saw the painting, Bret. It wasn't very good.
All right, so Bret, what did you think of this?
Man, I was laughing the entire time. This was a fantastic comedy. It's weird because I want to say there's a bunch of quotable lines like you guys were talking about.
She
But,
doesn't even go here.
but see,
Ex-boyfriends are off limits. That's the rule of feminism.
I've got a big lesbian crush on you.
Yes,
That's my favorite.
I have a wide set vagina and a heavy
And this is the only time any of those things will ever be said.
Oh no, I say the lesbian crush line all the time.
But I feel like a lot of these are just like fantastic one-liners. And I don't know, I feel like that's the thing that's missing from a lot of comedies, and it marks some of my favorites actually is just quality one-liners. And
Yeah.
I think it's why I liked Difficult People so much, and I don't think any of you guys ever watched that one.
I tried.
The show?
Yeah,
I was into it.
with
I want to see it. I haven't seen all of it yet. I think I
Yeah.
started watching it and I don't remember why I stopped, but I didn't
It's-
hate it.
it's like a rhythm of comedy that you either get into or they're just really, really mean.
Well, I mean that rhythm and those fast one-liners are just all over Kimmy Schmidt.
Well, I
Exactly.
think-
Yeah, Kimmy Schmidt does it well too.
I watch that and I just feel so jealous that somebody wrote that.
I actually feel like Kimmy Schmidt does it too much because it's like every line is a clever one-liner to the point where it's like hard for me to even follow what's going on in the conversation sometimes. And it feels a little bit like somebody's like, "Oh, I'm so clever." You know, like it gets in the way of the actual like narrative sometimes, in my opinion. But I think the good one-liners come from people you see who are like SNL, like they came from SNL a lot of times. Because, you know, on SNL, you've got to, like, that's what a lot of the comedy revolves around is, like, funny one-liners, you know, because you don't have time for a lot of physical comedy, you know.
that too, and like how they write SNL too. Like they have to make sure all the jokes are really timely and pop culture-y. So I think a lot of SNL writers are used to writing under pressure.
Yeah.
So there's this very like snappy pace and like quick-witted dialogue that I think stems from that.
Yeah. So I think you see that a lot from, you know, those sort of people who came up in sketch type communities.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But, anyway, like this is definitely on the rewatchable list, and I'm sorry that we made you wait several years to watch it again.
Speaking of waiting, what was it that we were waiting on?
Tomorrow is October 3rd. And we're
Which is
releasing
Mean Girls Day.
Mean Girls Day, because he turns around and he asks, "What day is it?" And she says, "It's October 3rd."
Yep.
Yeah,
This and this,
Wow.
October 3rd. He
That
asked me what
was
day it
the
was.
thing?
yeah, and then also this time it's a Wednesday, and
So you
they
have to
wear
wear
pink on
pink.
Wednesday.
Yep.
So it's October 3rd on a Wednesday where you wear pink.
Yeah, so somehow I have to get for the listeners. It's Tuesday, October 2nd. And
Brett
I've
has
got to
less than 24 hours.
yeah, how to get your guys' audio and edit it and upload it before it's too late tomorrow to be relevant.
Okay, I'm dumbfounded that that's the significance.
Yeah, we waited this whole
It's a very
time.
popular internet meme, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right.
just an
I've actually
internet joke.
seen like 3 or 4 Facebook posts from different people from different social groups about tomorrow.
If you
Yeah.
break your Twitter fast, it will just be gifs of this movie.
Daleks just announced that the
Yeah.
bar he works at is doing a party, and if you wear pink, you get like a discount or something. Which is
See?
pretty great.
Even Daleks, he knows what's up.
Well, Daleks always knows what's up.
Fair enough.
True.
So who's next?
I guess Nick.
I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it on the level that some of yous did. But yeah, I thought it was pretty great. Yeah, there's certainly stuff that's like, all right, I'm not the audience for this. But yeah, I think I said before, it never felt weighed down by that. So yeah, not my super favorite movie, but I thought it was pretty great.
I read a review of something else the other day that has the perfect descriptor for that feeling where it's like this isn't working, but like it still works. or it's not working for me, but it still works. And they just call it. It's not obtuse. It doesn't feel obtuse watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just it all sits together very well, even if it's not even if you're not the target demo.
It's like those are some of the best movies. Like Any Given Sunday, I could not be more bored with football, but Any Given Sunday is just a great movie. It's just an undeniable great movie. Or Field of Dreams. You know, so if you can make a movie that good about a topic that I don't give a shit about, then you've made yourself a movie.
Yes,
Totally.
They have made a movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't really say anything.
Totally agree.
Well, I mean, Ash and Sam, I don't know if you've got more that you want to say. This was your baby.
I mean, I think I mentioned it in the beginning, but like I still think the Africa, like the way they use that is really great. Like that's where I think there was really good filmmaking. Like this idea, like where she's like, it was like the animals around the watering hole, and like seeing the teenagers like turn into animals and like attack each other in that fashion is just so fitting and like the perfect metaphor.
Absolutely.
I think it was very brilliantly done. And then the fact that, again, we've like foreshadowed it throughout the film, and then at the end the girls really are like attacking each other and whatnot.
Totally love this movie after not seeing it for this long. The other thing I forgot about was the nipples being cut out of the shirts.
Oh yeah.
That part is hilarious and surprisingly like a very modernist feminist thing to do, of like, my nipples are not pornographic, I'm going to cut them out of my shirt. Like, it's really funny. And the writing, I knew the writing would be good, but I think I was surprised at how good it was. You know, like all really of the dialogue, it didn't feel dated. Like and there are parts that are written to kind of sound dated, you know, like that's so fetch. Like that should be kind of a 2000s catchphrase. But it totally holds up. Like it
just never happened.
Yeah, I just couldn't get it to happen. I think the only thing that kind of dates this movie is the fashion, honestly. Like the Mean Girls fashion is very specific to that kind of early 2000s era.
Well, it's also not that old.
Yeah. Wait, when did it come out? Did we talk about that?
2004.
That's
over a decade ago.
14 years?
Yeah. 14 years. It's pretty old for fashion. Like,
all right, fair enough.
If you look at 85 and, 2000, right? That's almost the same amount of time. So, very different. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the characters were great, and I was a little worried that there would be some weird rapey thing in there that doesn't hold up.
Well,
but I mean, there's the teacher coach thing, but the way they handled it was.
They definitely said that's not okay.
Yeah,
definitely.
And they believed the victims, and they like took it seriously and did a full investigation. Like.
Step away from those girls.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was handled appropriately and not in like a dismissive sort of 80s haha rape is funny type of way.
Yeah.
So
in a Heather's haha rape is funny kind of way.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'm really happy to have brought it to the table, and I'm glad you all liked it too, because that would have broke my heart.
All right. Well, thanks for watching a movie that was better than Heather's.
Yeah. If you like this show, it's part of the Last Stash TV network of content. It's this podcast and a YouTube channel that has a drinking show, video game parodies, and a lot of other fun stuff.
Yeah. And actually, by the time you hear this, are you releasing this tomorrow?
I'm releasing this tomorrow.
Oh, well, soon. the day after you hear this, the third episode of Zomcom Diaries comes out. What is Zomcom Diaries, you say? Why, it's this behind-the-scenes series that I'm doing about this project that Nick and I are working on. And you can go and see behind the scenes, like, what was the most? Episode 1 was casting. Yeah, then there was props, and then the one that is coming out this week is I walk you through how we did an axe throw stunt, and how we choreographed it and storyboarded it and made it all safe. So yeah, check those out and have fun. Oh, what are the other things I say? Oh, yeah. You can also follow us on Twitter. You can follow us at Laughstash TV, or you can follow this podcast at Let's Rewatch, where we do fun things like tweet photos of the movie, which I totally did this time. Definitely remembered to do that. You just didn't see it. It's not my fault.
Oh, man, internet, come on.
But we also do no, actually I just really didn't post a picture. but we also do polls, so sometimes you can vote and see and choose the movie we watch.
And if you liked our podcast, please give us a positive review on iTunes or Google Play Music. We got an awesome 5-star review from somebody who I don't know.
We literally can't look it up right this second.
Yeah.
But it put us back into 4.5. So
thank you.
Finally back in the upper echelon of podcasts.
Wait, I'll look it up.
Welcome back to the club.
Yeah, look at us. High rollers with all them stars. And
it was a very nice review. Thank you to whoever you were.
Brett.
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Brett and Ash are looking it up.
Yeah, Ash is looking it up. I can't look it up.
And make sure you tell your friends. We would love to get more subscribers.
I have one other update. This episode and all of our back catalog of episodes are now on YouTube with a really cool visualizer thing that I put together.
Oh, you released it?
Yeah, so
cool.
So now we'll be releasing these in tandem, new episodes on podcast feed, or if you like to be on YouTube more often, you can listen to us there now. And there's like a little thing I did.
Yeah, they can autoplay through all of our episodes forever and ever.
It's weird because I tried to look it up. It's easier to Google it than it is to YouTube it because YouTube's search is garbage. But Google us, Let's Rewatch on YouTube, and you'll find the channel.
I'll also put a link to it on the Laughstash TV channel. So if you go there, there should be a link to. I'll have like a playlist of it there as well.
But guys, it took me literally fucking months.
Yeah, Bret has been working on this forever, actually.
It looked so good, and then I just kind of like it fell out of my consciousness, and now
I had to do like all these custom thumbnails and all this photoshopping and then rendering these things. It took forever.
Yep. What's the channel name? Is it Let's Rewatch Podcast? Just Let's Rewatch.
Yeah. Just so you all know what Bret went through, he actually put all of our faces on screen and gave us all little animated dialogue bars to show when we're talking, and put the movie poster on each episode.
Yeah. Well, the thing
did you do tags?
Yeah, I did all the tag. Yeah, I looked up all the metadata. Oh my god! It was weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, I forced Bret to do it legit. I was like, "You got to do thumbnails. You got to." The photo of Nick is priceless. Yeah. I'm just gonna say that, and you all have to go look it up. It's wonderful.
I found a photo of Nick and Luna hanging out, and I cropped Luna out of it. Sorry, Luna.
Wow.
And replaced her with fire.
Yeah, I just put Nick on flames. It looks like he's in a Burger King ad.
That's
but like
amazing.
in a good way, in like the sexiest way possible.
Right.
Fire in a good way.
That's awesome. So I did find the review. Is it the Pippin Hot podcast?
Yeah.
Who would love this show?
Yeah, I would assume Piping Hot podcast.
Oh yeah, piping, not Pippin.
I like
doing really great with the names.
I like Pippin.
Yeah. It's a podcast all about Pippin from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, he said, a podcast bringing back movies from childhood? Yes, please. What a fantastic show. I can't wait to continue listening. The hosts have such a talent for this, and each gives a very interesting and unique perspective on the movies they choose to talk about. Also, they're a great follow on Twitter and in the Podern family community. Aw,
Very nice.
yeah, I don't know if you guys
so
know,
nice.
but I run the Twitter, and there's like a group of us movie podcast people that all hang together on the internets.
Sweet.
We're tight like that.
Our
Signal boosting
Facebook
each
is
other.
getting pretty hip and hot.
Oh, is it? I haven't
Hip Hop Anonymous.
been
Yeah.
on there for a little bit. That's good.
We have a newish member whose name starts with a J, and I can't remember.
Every time we announce a new member, we never know their name.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're
Wait,
great,
I'll look it up.
He's posted a lot of really awesome things. He posted about Cats Don't Dance.
Oh, Jamie? Is it Jamie?
Jamie.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is an awesome movie from childhood. And
We
then he
should totally do Cats Don't Dance.
We
by the way.
should. But we should not do the Skippy and the whatever, Slimy and
the Seal or whatever.
Zippers or
I saw
whatever.
that movie.
Oh, it looked like a bad movie, and I was like, no way had I seen this movie. And I watched the trailer, and I was like, yeah, I saw this movie and loved it as a kid, and it looks awful.
What if we only ever saw the trailer?
No, I definitely saw it as a kid at my grandma's house.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
So.
thanks to all of our wonderful fans for boosting us to better places on online rankings and
Yeah,
just being
thank
around
you.
listening.
For so many years. Hasn't it been several years now?
Yeah, this is year 4.
Wow.
Woot woot. Yeah, we're probably getting pretty close to our 4-year birthday.
We did this already.
Yeah.
I said it and no one cared. That was like 3 episodes ago. But
Sorry, Bret. I love you.
I do remember you saying it, and I do remember not caring.
I think because none of us liked the movie, and then I was like, by the way, 4 years, and everyone was like, oh, really? This is what we watched?
This is what I've been doing with my life for 4 years? God.
All right. Well, let's
Let's move on.
let's end the show like Jeff Goldblum. So make sure your podcast feed is up to date. Tell your friends. We'll be doing this again in another 2 weeks for another episode of Let's Rewatch.
Yeah, I guess it's October, so next time we're going to watch Spookies.
That doesn't sound racist at all.
Oh, God,
God.
is it racist?
Oh God, no!
You fucked up, Bret.
Oh, that was
You
really
fucked
the
up
movie?
real bad.
No, the movie's called Spookies, but it doesn't look racist, it just looks bad.